Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Into the Podcast. I'm your host Sam, and I'm joined each and every week by the beautiful Ryan Chittenden. Say hello, Ryan Chittenden.
Hey up, Sam.
How are you, Flower?
I'm alright, Tar. How are you?
I'm alright, thanks, mate. We just tried to do a little test. We always do a little 30-second test to make sure the mics are working, and we do a little record of it and watch it back. And I realised I didn't click record video. I clicked go live. So there was a 30-second video of you pretending to be Mario that just streamed out on my streaming page.
You know, if you were lucky to be paying attention to join your streams just like that, you would have seen me be Mario.
And this is why you need to follow me, because I do shit like this all the time.
Top quality content.
It was only 30 seconds, but I had more viewers in them 30 seconds than I did do in the last 3 streams I've done.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you, mate. So how are things with you, buddy?
Things are alright, thank you.
Yeah?
You know, plodding along, can't complain.
Good, mate.
Except I do complain because I'm tired all the time.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have a baby, unfortunately, mate. This
Why
is life
did no
now.
one tell me?
I
No
did.
one told me.
Yeah, I did. A lot. Don't play the victim here, Flower.
We told you. Everybody told you.
But I feel it, mate. I mean, I've not even got a baby and I'm knackered, so...
Yeah, exactly.
But that's just because, mate, you may have a baby, but I've got a nerd shop to run.
You do have a nerd shop to run. Tell everyone about your nerd shop.
So I've got my own business now. So I'm assuming we spoke about this on the podcast, how it's mine and yours dream that we're just going to sack off our jobs and just go and open a nerd shop and sell Magic cards and Warhammer and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I bought a game on Steam called TCG Card Shop Simulator, where you get to sell basically fake Pokemon cards and fake Pokemon. But I modded the game so it's selling real Pokemon cards. And as much as I've said on the stream 1,000 times how I lose my life to that supermarket simulator, this is the exact same thing, but not selling bread, selling Pokemon cards. So on... is it Friday night? I thought, I'll have a couple of hours on it. I think I played some Fortnite or something, and I thought, a couple of tins of beer, and I'll have an hour on this. And then it was 4 o'clock in the morning.
Easily done. We've all been there.
But, you know, it started off my shop. All I had was a couple of shelves of Pokemon cards. 4 hours later, mate, I was selling plush teddies. I was selling board games, sleeves. I'm having to run around because every now and then you get smelly nerds in your shop and you have to run around spraying them with air freshener because they stink and they upset the other customers.
The thing is, that's a real-life problem for nerd shops.
It is a real-life problem, which I absolutely love.
It's a very realistic game.
It's so realistic. And this is my life now. Literally, people, do you want to do something tonight? No, I don't. I have to sell Pokemon cards.
Imagine how successful we could be if we put in like the same amount of time we do for like gaming and random stupid shit as we did like at real jobs.
Well, I know. My mate Sharpie, a friend from the Utopia podcast, he was working in a real shop on Saturday, and I thought, I'm going to bang a stream up. I've not streamed in a while, and I streamed the nerd shop card game, and he joined the stream, and he just put, it's weird, I'm at work and don't want to be here, you're at home but working for free. And I was like, yeah, I am.
It's so stupid. It's like when we played Play Up and we're just running our asses off, getting stressed as if we're running a real kitchen.
But this is
I've never been so stressed, but so addicted to it.
But this
ask me to clean up the pots in real life. Fuck that.
Not a chance. But this is just all research for when we do eventually start the nerd shop. All I'm doing now is sort of looking at, you know, the different bits, the best things to sell, the price of cards, you know, stuff like this. And then once I've done this, mate, master at it, won't I?
Oh, easily.
So we've not really got a topic for this week's episode. We're just going to have a bit of a catch-up because we've done that many, like, episodes based on something recently. We've not caught up, and we've both seen quite a lot of films. You've been to see Band Live and a couple of little bits and bobs. So we just thought we'd do a bit of a catch-up episode. Probably call it Top Tier Catch-Up for the fourth time. And
you know, you've got to have a Top Tier Catch-Up. You know, it sounds like a lot if we do Top Tier Catch-Up for the 4th time, but this podcast, we've been running over 2 years now. That's only a catch-up every 6 months.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. So we're just going to go through some of the films because we have been to cinema quite a lot and seen a lot of the newer films that have sort of been and gone, but we've not discussed. And so before we do that, we'll just get all the housekeeping out the way. Facebook, Instagram, Discord, YouTube, all of them type of things. Get them followed. Get them followed, get them subscribed. If you're watching on YouTube, in fact, if you're listening on Spotify, links are down there in the description. Links are down there, and you can just go click them, and you can like us, and you can get involved in the conversation. And good old manager Megan will be popping up little pictures here, there, and everywhere, because she's a little babe like that. And like I say, you can see our faces on YouTube, and I've just treated myself to a 4K camera.
I know, you can actually see the little ghost lights behind you now. They don't look just like blurred white lights.
The only thing is, it does like to, if I move like this, look, it kind of moves me a little bit. But it came with this. It came with the remote, so I can, like, flip my face and shit. Oh, is it that one? Look at that.
Nothing's happening.
I can, like, flip my face, and I can
it's
make
like you can
it
have a conversation with
or
yourself.
lighter. Oh, hello, Sam. Oh, hello, Sam. So I can do all shit like that randomly throughout the episode, and you can see it all on YouTube.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to buy one.
You're gonna have to. It was down from like 90 quid to 50, and I was like, I can't not buy that. That looks cool as shit.
Oh, brilliant.
All the gear, no idea, mate.
Yeah.
What else we got? We got all that. Oh, what's that thing? Spotify. Leave us a review. A 5-star one, preferably, because we like.
I think we're still at 5 stars these days, which is shocking, mainly because no one reviews us, but still.
But that's fine. The ones that did made it 5 stars, so go and be one of them, please.
Yes.
And yeah, you know, if you want to treat yourself, Stoked and Woke Clothing, get yourself some money off that. We're earning bare dollar through them.
We are.
We are getting paid. Exactly, we're getting paid partners here, mate.
You're mainly helping Stoked and Woke out.
Oh yeah, but we're getting like 40p for it.
But still, we'll take it.
40p is 40p, isn't it? You can't put a price on 40p, Ryan.
That's like half a Freddo.
It is half a Freddo, you're right. Anything else? Is that all the housekeeping bits?
The socials, do you talk about socials?
Did socials.
Um,
Go and follow me on Twitch. You're not going to. Papa Roast 88TTV now, because I accidentally changed my name. Go and follow me, because I've put a lot of time and effort into that recently. I've like made all my screen look bougie, and I've added links to things and timers, and it's all looking great. I have merch now.
What does TTV stand for?
Twitch TV.
Ah.
I've got into, at night time now, I don't fall asleep to the TV anymore. I fall asleep to Twitch.
That's becoming your main source of like your main input, I feel, these days. I feel like that's the thing you watch the most.
100%. So, like, I've not watched it. There's so many TV shows, I'm like, I haven't really got time for it. But then I'll watch 8 hours of someone playing Call of Duty a day.
Yeah.
And I haven't played Call of Duty myself in months.
No, me neither.
That's your fault, though. That's not mine.
I've not played Black Ops 6. It took me like 3 weeks to download it because it's like a 300 gigabyte update.
Yeah,
and it didn't take me 3 weeks because my internet is fantastic, but it took that long because I did 190 gig update. Then I had to, once that downloaded, it was another 180 gig update. And then once that downloaded, it was a 290 gig update.
Jesus Christ.
So I've downloaded all that and I've not played it once. I've not even turned it on.
You downloaded Fortnite yet?
No.
I don't know why I bother with you sometimes.
My Xbox is just used as a Blu-ray player or to watch the other streaming channels on. That's all it is.
Well, what a waste of everyone's time and money.
But I've paid it off now.
Hey, that finished this month, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. That was 2 years since we bought our Xboxes.
That is madness. What film did we go see that day? We did that just before we went to see a film, didn't we?
Yeah, was it?
It was with Kanish. It was early days of with Kanish. Was it? Oh, God. Barbarian.
Barbarian, yes, it was Barbarian.
It was. We sat in Chiquitos, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You wanted to buy an Xbox, and because you wanted to buy one, obviously I wanted to buy one. And then that was it. We bought Xboxes, and now you don't use yours, and mine I gave to my child.
Yeah,
because I never needed one. I have a PC.
To keep your PC company. I don't know, like
exactly.
It's like when like a sports team will they've got a world class striker, but they buy someone that's not quite as good just to make them buck up their ideas so they don't slack off. So I think it put pressure on your PC to be better.
But that's what you did with the PS5, innit?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
the PS5 because you was like, Xbox, you're not doing your thing. I will move.
Yeah,
These guys have God of War. Now hurry up and bring out Gears.
exactly.
We know how it is, mate. Right, enough about you not gaming, because all we're doing is talking about things that aren't happening here, and it upsets me.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
That's true.
it's like losing someone close to me. So, you went to go see some rock music recently, Ryan.
Would you describe it as rock music?
I think they'd probably fall under the banner of maybe like alt rock.
Maybe.
What would you class them as?
That's a very difficult one. I feel like they're a very genre-defying band.
Well,
Let's
tell
see
the
what
people who it is, and I'll Google it.
you Google it. So I went to see Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds recently. I went with Drew of Drew Flanagan Music
Drew Flanagan Music.
and my father, and it was a really spontaneous trip because I'm a big Nick Cave fan. I have been for quite a few years, and I saw that he was doing a tour this year because he's got a new album out, The Wild God, and love the album. I just thought I've binged it a lot. Probably one of the albums of Nick Cave's I listened to the most. And then he announced he was doing a tour, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to get tickets. But it just didn't work out, you know, newborn baby, timings didn't quite work out.
I know how it
and,
is,
you know,
mate.
and tickets for things are not cheap. Although these weren't horrendous, but it's standard. Like, what? A standard ticket now for an average, like, seat or standing, what I would say is probably about 70 quid.
For a bigger band, probably 35 for your lower.
I'd say,
tier
yeah,
ones.
if it's in an arena,
Oh yeah,
it's minimum sort of 65. So it was about that price, and I was umming and ahhing. One of them, you know, we like, oh, I'm gonna get tickets. It's like, oh, maybe I'll hold off, and then I kept going back to, and then when I finally decided to buy tickets, I was gonna go see him at Leeds. Claire reminded me that we had prior commitments on that day, so I was like, fuck's sake, it's just not meant to be.
yeah.
And then out of the blue, Drew of Drew Flanagan Music messaged me and said, I think it must have been on like a Monday night or something, and just literally messaged me saying, do you want to go see Nick Cave on Friday in Birmingham? I was like,
Yes.
hell yes. So obviously he's in the army, so he managed to get tickets for troops, which they do, which I don't know if it's like a charity or I don't know how it quite works, but basically was able to get us all tickets, and it cost us £4
That is madness, isn't it?
for a ticket, which was literally, the tickets are free, but I think it's just a service charge.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's one of them. It was like fate. Do you know what I mean? Like me and Drew have not talked about Nick Cave or anything really. I think he knew I was a fan, so he was just like, oh, I really want to see him. Like, see if Ryan wants to go. And I don't know. You know when you get like free tickets to something or cheap tickets, I feel like my expectations are lower. Even though I love the band, I love the music. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if
Yeah.
you pay like over 100 quid or something for a gig, you want it to be the best gig of all time.
Oh, of course you do, yeah.
So going in, we're thinking like, oh, well, we basically got these tickets for free. Even though I fucking love Nick Cave, and I was like super, super excited, I still feel like my expectations were low for some reason. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense at all.
No,
but,
I do know what you mean, yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we went to see them, and oh my God, they were incredible.
Really?
I feel like they're not that big of a band, I would say. They're not that mainstream. They've been around. Wnick Cave and the Bad Seeds been around since the 80s.
Yeah, I think they were definitely more popular back then than they are now.
Yeah, even then though, I feel like they've always been alternative. They've never been a mainstream band. They've never been I think they've had one song, which is Where the Wild Roses Grow, or whatever it is, The Wild Rose, or whatever. I think it's the duet he did with Kylie Minogue back in the 90s was like the only song I think they got in the charts. Most people will know Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds for doing the theme tune for Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, the Red Right Hand song.
Red Right Hand. So yeah, it was one of those gigs where the music it's not the sort of music you will sing to that much, and it's not something you dance to. It's just something you take in the music, if you know what I mean. It's just all consuming. Like there's like quite a lot of in the band, you know, so obviously Nick Cave's the front man, but you got like Warren Ellis, who's like on the violin and who did insane things with the violin that I've never seen someone do. He's basically doing like guitar solos with a violin, but it sounded like a guitar. It wasn't like it was insane. It was absolutely mad. You know, they had like obviously like you standard like guitar player, bassist, drummer, but then they had like percussionists there, so we had like all the bells and like the arrangements. So it was like the sound was larger than life. They had another keyboard player. Nick Cave goes on the grand piano, and then they're like gospel singers as well throughout the whole thing, and it was just phenomenal. The word Drew used was like transcendent, and I feel like that's what it was. Like when you just like you are just transported somewhere else. You're just in the music.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like it takes you to another place where the whole concert was like that. It was insane. And what I love about them and what a lot of, some of my favorite bands is that the live music's so much different to the studio albums. Like they add so much more to it. Seeing them live, it's not just like, like some bands are a bit naff live, or they make up for what they're lacking, like their musical skills or the singer's voice. They'll make up for in like stage presence or whatever.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. Whereas these were just like so much better. Like the music, like they're turning like a 5-minute song into like a 7.5-minute epic where all the musicians are just going for it, and it builds up to this like big crescendo. It was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best gigs I've ever been to. Like Drew kept turning to me as well, saying like this is like we were in awe. Do you know what I mean? Like just absolutely phenomenal. And then obviously at the time I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but the fact that like, oh, like this song's for Birmingham, like basically got on about Red Right Hand and Peaky Blinders, so everyone went fucking nuts. And I was like, I quite like Peaky Blinders, but I didn't go fucking mental for it. So that was just a bit surreal. The whole thing was incredible. One of the few times I've ever come away from a concert and I'm just like thinking, please, please, please bring out a live album of this. Concert or of this tour, because I think they've all been the same, and I've seen so many comments on social media and stuff and all the posts, and everyone's saying the same thing, which is good because it's not just me who's felt that way. Everyone's just been blown away, and they are the sort of band that will bring out live albums.
Okay.
And I just hope for it, because it was something else. It was absolutely incredible. So I'm so glad I got to see them. It was like a proper like bucket list moment.
Yeah.
Because he's getting on, Nick Cave. He's like 67 now.
Is he?
You never believe it. Like his voice is still incredible. He's got this absolute presence about him. I mean, he looks like a vampire overlord, doesn't he? With his slick back hair. Anyway, he's like so he doesn't look like he's aged much, but it's probably because he is like a vampire. But it was just so, and it's one of those things I do believe it was like fate, because I was so desperate to see him and it just didn't quite work out, and then just randomly for Drew to message me and be like, "Oh, do you want to go see Nick Cave on Friday?"
Yes, I do.
Like, you just read my mind, because I thought the tour was over. I thought that they finished the English part of the tour and it was just Paris that they had left, but Birmingham was the last gig before they did Paris the next night.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so unbelievable band, a very underappreciated band. I think they're still quite popular, but nothing major. They've got like 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify, probably because most people go, "Oh, play Red Right Hand from Peaky Blinders," but they're an incredible act. They've got like 18 studio albums or something. There's whole host, and they are mad, aren't they? They are weird and wonderful. I don't know how much you've listened to them.
I mean, a lot of their songs are stories, aren't they?
Yes,
and they're all very. I mean, I can't remember what the song's called, but one of my favourites. He's like a cowboy just going from state to state, and he ends up in a bar. And he beats some bloke up and makes him suck him off or something like it. And all the songs are very much like that.
It's not like which one is that? Reminds. Is it like Stagger Lee?
Stagger Lee, that's the song.
Stagger Lee, where he's just like, "Oh, I like put 6 bullets in his motherfucking head."
Yeah, after he made him blow him.
Yeah, it's just like it's just
weird
crazy,
shit.
like,
but they're so good. They're like good, fun stories.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
his voice is odd, isn't
album. It? Yeah. Like that whole album's called Murder Ballads, and every song is just a story about someone getting murdered.
Oh yeah, I've got the album on CD in my car actually.
That's so cool. Like, there's lots of themes around death and spirituality, and religion and stuff. So it's they're might sound daft. They're like an adult band.
Oh, they're
if
an
that
adult
makes
band.
sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're not like just a mong out listen to pop music. That's got its time and place, you know.
Oh,
But they're
absolutely,
not
yeah.
just like a little happy pop song. It's like, I don't know, adult themed and mature music. And do you know? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's just, but yeah, it was absolutely incredible. So glad I got to see them. If they tour again, I would definitely go see them.
Yeah,
That's the sort of
if they do, give me a shout, because I'd love to, like you say, bucket list, and might not get the opportunity to. So
Yeah, exactly. And that's that's probably again one of the few times I've come away from a gig and gone, I would happily go see them again tomorrow night. You know how
Yeah.
people will follow bands round on a tour and they'll do every night, and you're a bit like, all right, that's a bit intense. But I would do that just for the experience, just for the way the music made me feel. Like took me to a whole other place. It was just insane.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I bought tickets to a gig the other week whilst I was drunk, and only remembered 2 days later when I found the email.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah, well, I was having a few drinks with a friend, and I was talking about live music, and they go see a lot of live music, and I said, you know what, I always keep meaning to look. You know, I live in Lincoln, we got two venues that normally play pretty big bands, and I just forget to look until it's too late. So I flicked through there and then, and I saw there was a band called Steve and Seagulls. Steve and Seagulls playing. Now, if you don't know who these are, they're like a redneck, pure bluegrass country type band, and they did go viral for doing a cover of Thunderstruck by AC/DC, but obviously on banjo, and it's all like on a farm, and they're all wet, you know, the typical bit of corn coming out their mouth and wearing the dungarees and stuff. And it's so much fun. They just do loads of covers like that, and they're playing at this little venue in Lincoln for like 20 odd quid. I was like, I need to buy these fucking tickets. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's in February. Interesting question I got asked. Went with podcast favourite Max and our friend Joe. I went for some dinner with them last night, and they asked me a question I'm going to put forward to you on the spot. You're not allowed to think too much about it.
All right.
You're only allowed to listen to 5 musicians/bands for the rest of your life. Who are they?
Oh.
Just off the top of your head.
Well, all right, that's difficult.
It's going to change every day. Mine would.
Every day. Right, okay, so right at the moment, I'll go Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. They're the ones I'm smashing at the moment. They've got a great back catalogue, 18 albums. Every album's different as well. It's a different sound on each album, so you're always going to get that variety and versatility. And there's so much to unpick in each song. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot to it. I feel like that's the sort of music you could listen to 100 times and notice something different.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bleat on about Nick Cave because I've just talked about how great he is for the last 5 minutes.
20 minutes.
Worth it. You could have a whole episode on Nick Cave. Fuck. I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm gonna go Johnny Flynn. One of my favourite artists of all time. Folk singer. I absolutely love him. He's like my Mr. Consistent. Do you know what I mean? He's like, a lot of them I like have flashes of. I'll listen to him intensely and then never listen to him again for a couple of years. Whereas Johnny Flynn, it's just like a constant. I'll listen to him all the time, just like, so keeping me ticking over. So I'm going Johnny Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
This is difficult.
It is difficult.
Especially on the spot. I've had no prep.
This is the beauty of it. You're not allowed prep. You just have to go with the top 5 bands in your head. If you was going to put 5 bits of music on with different artists now, who would it be?
Yeah.
Because I had some right out there ones. I had Panic at the Disco in mine.
Really?
Panic at the Disco. I'm not a huge Panic at the Disco fan, but there isn't a single Panic at the Disco song I don't really like.
Yeah.
They're all very different. I love his voice, and yeah, there's a lot of things that I kind of get into in the moment, but Panic at the Disco is always one of them. Every time I listen to it, I go, I need to listen to that album, not the song. And I go and listen to the album. So just stuff like that. Like, I never expected that to be in there, but it did. Which was weird, because Max also had Panic at the Disco.
No way.
Yeah, his was a toss-up between that and Fall Out Boy, and I was like, yeah, See it.
Interesting. So is it just any musical artist? That's all I can listen to. In which case, I would probably go like composer. I would go like Howard Shore, Lord of the Rings music.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's just something I'll put on background music, you know, and that's something I'll listen to quite a lot. So again, Howard Shore's one who's always my top artists every year because I just listened to him. So I'll put Howard Shore, and then I'm also going to put another composer, but a game one, Jeremy Soule.
Oh yeah.
Who has done arguably the greatest soundtrack for any game ever. He did the Elder Scrolls games.
The Rocket League games, yeah.
Rocket League is banging, to be fair. But no, he did Skyrim and Oblivion and Morrowind, I think. Skyrim, the soundtrack is incredible. That's the sort of thing, again, like if I'm driving in the car, or if I'm putting headphones on to do some work, or just doing the pots, I will put that on. It's just like comfort music, if you know what I mean. The same way we'd put a film on or TV on just in the background for comfort. I will put like Howard Shore and Jeremy Soule on, and again, they're constants I've listened to for years. Big caveat though, Jeremy Soule, out of favour, he got sacked from Elder Scrolls because apparently he sexually assaulted some people. So. There's not a lot of information out there because I don't think he's like a big personality. Like he's not a celebrity or anything. It's like game composers aren't as well known as like film composers.
Yeah, I had to take R. Kelly out for that reason, mate. So you might have to take him out.
And you do love Lost Prophets too.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'm saying now, Lost Prophets were a banging band, and it pisses me off
that
he is such a fucking vile creature because the rest of them did not deserve that. And I've still got one of their albums in my car, and I don't listen to it because it's not allowed. But I hate it. I hate it because they were so good, and the band didn't deserve what that vile creature did. And it just annoys me so much.
There you go. Lost Prophets Betrayed CD, literally right in front of me on the stand that I've got a handful of CDs from fucking years and years ago that I've never chucked away.
Is that one you just need? You remember?
This 2009. I fucking love Lost Prophets. I remember going to see them when I was at uni at Hull, and they played in like the city hall, so it was a tiny gig, and we were right near the front. And it was quality, you know, it was one of them where I didn't do a lot of gigs back then, so I was only just starting to get into gigs. And that was the first one where it was like, you know, like everyone's moshing, so you came away from the gig. It was like a Saturday night, so it's like, oh, well, we're going to town afterwards. But, you know, you're just like, I can't, because I'm fucking soaked. Like, my t-shirt's dripping from, like, moshing. And I fucking loved them. And, yeah, what a vile piece of shit. And now I can't listen to them.
Yeah.
They're back on Spotify and stuff, though. Because they did get removed for a long time, but they're back on there, yeah.
With him?
Pretty sure they are.
They're not started again with somebody new?
Or... No, as in, like, all their old music's on. I'm sure it is.
Weird.
Lost Prophets, yeah.
Odd.
Yeah, last Train Home, Rooftops. Yeah, they're all on there. Liberation Transmission starts.
Because again, the rest of the band shouldn't ever not make any money from them because of him.
Yeah, he just shouldn't make money from it. Yeah, they've only got 200,000 listeners, whereas obviously if that hadn't have happened, I would have probably put them in a couple of million.
Oh, yeah.
So my fifth artist is not Lost Prophets.
For that reason, yeah.
Let's go somewhere different. Out of the blue, I'm picking a name. James Blunt. There you go. I said it.
I had James Blunt. I had James, but Ryan just keeps getting up and walking away from the screen. Yeah,
but I can't have the Lost Prophets CD looking at me. I had to put it away
under the bed so no one can see it, but you know where it is.
Yeah, just in case.
I had James Blunt as well because that guy
James Blunt's
is classic.
He's so good. Like I'm sick of pretending, right, that James Blunt is a guilty pleasure. He's just
not
a
guilty pleasure. He's an absolute pleasure of a person. He's absolutely. Some came on the other night. Now I was just listening to YouTube. Had some videos on. I can't remember what the James Blunt song is, but he's kind of singing next to his dad, and the whole time he is just crying while singing.
It's called.
What's the song called?
Monster, is it?
Something like that. Man, I nearly cried with him because the song is gorgeous. And it's all
It's
about
all
his
about
dad, isn't it?
his dad got cancer, didn't he? He thought he was
Yeah.
going to die. So it's all about saying all those things that you want to say to your dad, like after they've gone, but he's saying it to his face.
Yeah.
And it is a beautiful song.
Oh,
Those
I'm
lyrics,
literally getting goosebumps talking about it.
those
Like,
lyrics, and then the music video is quite powerful as well. Because obviously he's just fucking blaring it
bawling his
out to his
eyes out.
dad. 'Cause I think his dad had terminal can. Well, I think it was terminal unless he got a transplant. But his dad's since had a transplant and still alive. So yeah, like I fucking love James Blunt. It's one of those like music unlocks memories, doesn't it, and takes you to a different place
Absolutely.
and a time and place. So my mum and dad had Back to Bedlam. I mean, let's face it, everyone had Back to Bedlam. It was the biggest selling album of the noughties in the UK. It sold insane amount. And I just remember that. I was just like, that was on in our house all the time. So that just takes me back to being like a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And then same again, like with his second album, All the Lost Souls, I think it's called. That took me to like, again, that was like 17. That was always on in the house. Back to Bedlam, I used to play. The very first game I played online with anyone, it was me and Drew, and we used to play RuneScape.
Oh, did
you
you?
ever...
I never
Yeah.
played RuneScape, no.
So like it was like the cheap, as in it was the free version, like, and a cheap knockoff version of like World of Warcraft, basically.
Yeah. But it's still
It
huge.
was like an online MMO game, and it was just it was free and it was great. And then suddenly that was a novelty because obviously me and Drew didn't live anywhere near each other. We lived a couple hours away. So suddenly the fact that we could play online together, we didn't have headsets or anything like that. You literally had to type for your character to say stuff, but still the fact that I could play online with someone
Whilst
who was
listening to
miles
James
away,
Blunt.
whilst James Blunt on CD, and because it was on CD, I wasn't going to get up and change the CD constantly. I'd just reach over and press play, or it'd be on repeat.
Yeah.
So I just literally just blasted it time and time again. But yeah, I love James Blunt. We've got tickets to see him next February. I think it's on Valentine's Day or the weekend of Valentine's Day.
Is it his 20th anniversary of Black Bedlam?
20th anniversary of Back to Bedlam,
I
yeah.
saw. Because you know who else is coming up to the 20th anniversary? Scissor Sisters, mate. And I
Really?
fucking love Scissor Sisters. Love them. And their original album, which to this day I still listen to start to finish because every song's a banger. They're doing a 20th anniversary tour to that. So I might have to get tickets because they were the first ever band I saw live. Scissor Sisters.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, they were great. So yeah, I might have to because they're not guilty pleasure again. Banger after banger.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Like, just quality music, innit? So yeah, I'm happy with my choices. I think. Yeah.
Good choices. They're very good choices, and I'm glad that Lost Prophets weren't in there. But I'm glad we got to discuss that and get that off our chest because I've been holding that in for a long time.
Yeah.
So we was going to do a whole episode talking through the films we've watched, and we've wasted over half an hour talking about music. But it's not wasted.
Not wasted. We don't talk about music enough.
No, we don't actually.
Music is just as big of an influence on me.
Than anything else.
Maybe more so than like film and TV. I listen to music all the time. I'm always going to gigs. I'm always looking out for new artists. Vinyls are one of those things I would say that I collect. I collect vinyls.
Yeah,
people
too,
do fucking all sorts of weird stuff. Like, because my dad, he's a big vinyl listener. So is my mum. They do like Music Fridays, which is really cool. So they'll put vinyls on, have a couple of drinks. Yeah. And my dad will always take the piss out of me a little bit, like, "Oh, he bought another vinyl not to listen to." It's like, yeah, I know. I do listen to them sometimes, but I just love that. I love the collector. I love the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I just love everything about them. There's something nice to have, and I've got some really, really cool ones in my collection. I've got loads of them that are signed and stuff as well by artists. So, yeah, we don't talk about music enough because I absolutely love music.
I went round a friend's house recently, and he has something really cool in his living room, which I'm thinking of doing back here just to make the back of the streams look better. But you know them like white coat hooks you can have?
Yeah.
Little Command Strip ones. He just has two of them, vinyl. Two of them, vinyl. Like that all along his wall. It looks so cool. And obviously, coming back to live home with my parents for a few months, all my vinyl's in storage at the minute. So I was like, I might just pull them out and just get a wall full of vinyl like that. I think that'd look so badass.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
But, speaking of music and Drew Flanagan, every time we speak about Drew, it makes me hungry because, snack of the week and how he is our sponsor and all that. So shall we pull
He
him out
is.
of his box, let people have a little bit of music, and then we get to nibble on something tasty?
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, let's do that. So, Drew, sing us in, baby.
Here come Sam and Ryan, listen to them both speak. They've come 2 hours on with their pop culture critique. But are you even a nerd if you don't overread? So come on everybody, it's the snack of the week.
There he is, old Drewbo. We love him, don't we?
We bloody do.
And I would just
I
like to
got
put
him
out...
again at the weekend, and so did you.
Yes, I saw him on Friday as well. It's always good to see Drew. I do miss his little face. He did ask if we'd play video games with him tonight, but we're obviously doing this, so we can't.
I know, I feel really bad because I've been saying to him for ages, like, because obviously he loves 40k and he's got Space Marine 2, and always asks if anyone's playing, but it's always quite last minute. And obviously now I need a lot more forward planning for gaming. And I'm not playing Space Marine 2 at all online. I really, really want to. So
No, I haven't, because Mike kept fucking up, didn't it? But we will, Drew, we will. But we will just push out there. Drew recently released Common Denominator, which is my favourite track by Drew Flanagan. Obviously, the one that he had out was just more of a live, him and a guitar, whereas this is a studio full band. So please go and check that out on Spotify if you are part of the Discord. I've put it. We have a little Drew Flanagan channel on there. That
we do.
We just like to appreciate him in, and I have shared it in that. So if you're part of the Discord, please go and listen to it. If you're not part of the Discord, join the fucking Discord. I'm sick of asking, and then you can listen to more Drew Flanagan music.
I know. I think it came out on Friday, and I think because obviously he's from Hartlepool's, and I think Radio Hartlepool played it over the weekend as well, which is cool.
That is really good. He also recently played with Beans on Toast.
He did play with Beans on Toast. Yeah, he had a big gig with Beans on Toast.
Yeah, I've seen them live a few times. They are so good. So it was insane to see Drew sort of sharing the stage with him. So he's doing amazing. Very proud of him. So please, Spotify, go listen to him. Go leave him. Can you do 5 stars and stuff on music, or is that just podcasts?
I don't think you can just podcasts.
Well, that's a shame. Go listen. Go like him on everything. Subscribe on YouTube. He's on them all. Just Drew Flanagan music.
Yeah, and if you want to, just see if he wants to play Space Marine 2.
Yeah, because he wants to play Space Marine 2. That's all he wants to do.
Exactly.
Snacks. So you brought a snack this week, which I had to tell you you're not allowed to eat because
I'm eating it anyway.
You can eat it anyway, but we've done it before.
It's my favourite snack.
I know it is because I bought it for you, not knowing you liked it, and then we basically had a bit of a jizz fest over it. So what have you got instead of the Portuguese tart?
Well, yeah, it was actually I didn't get that for the podcast because I think I remember us doing it. But Claire, bless her, she nipped to the shop not long before we started and got us a few bits and snacks. And she's like, "Oh, I got your Portuguese tart. You can have that on the podcast." I was like, "Pretty sure we've done it, but I'm gonna have it anyway because it's fantastic. It's my favourite snack." So then you told me off and beat me. So I've had to just find something from the cupboard. So I've gone very plain, but it's kind of a staple in the chocolate world. Not that exciting, middle of the road, but we'll see what happens when I eat it.
See what happens.
It's just a standard dairy milk.
The standard DM, mate. The standard Cadbury's Dairy Milk.
No, nothing fancy. Don't have all the trimmings. Don't have anything extra. It's just chocolate. It's just plain chocolate.
And
but it's dairy milk chocolate.
Sometimes that's all you need. You don't need trimmings and fancies and it being full of popping candy and bloody jelly beans. We don't need that. We just want chocolate. So, yeah.
Just a plain old dairy milk chocolate bar. What about you? What have you got?
Now, I went a bit special. I did buy 2, one for you and one for me, so we could do them together. And I've not seen you. And I forgot to pick anything up for this week, so I'm doing it by myself instead of together.
Saw me on Friday.
Yeah, but I forgot to bring them. Can you remember... You can't buy them anymore. Can you remember Milky Way crispy rolls?
Oh, I can.
One of the greatest things ever, which you cannot buy anymore. Well, what I found in B&M the other day... Now, personally, I'm a Galaxy guy. So Galaxy chocolate is my go-to. So I have a Galaxy Flute.
Interesting.
Which is basically a mini crispy roll, but the Galaxy version. So
that could be incredible.
This is going to be interesting. But I'd like you to go first, Ryan. I'd like you to, because you look like you're going to waste away, mate.
I am. And I need to scoff through this so then I can eat my Portuguese tart.
The sooner you eat that, the sooner you can eat a really crispy thing on a microphone. Yeah.
Yeah. Here is plain old dairy milk chocolate.
Go for it.
Yeah, that's good. That.
You was really trying to masticate as well, and I couldn't hear anything.
No, I don't really allow you for masticating. It's quite dry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good microphone as well, so it won't allow the picking up of masticating. Whereas this picks up every creak on everything that goes on in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So
You know what? It's
Go
great. It's like, as far as plain chocolate's going to go, I would take this over Galaxy, because Galaxy I find a bit rich.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I love the richness of Galaxy. That's why. That's why it's my favourite.
Yep, and I can see that. Dairy milk. It's such a great chocolate because obviously this is the plain version, but the fancy versions they still need the plain chocolate to make it as good as it is.
Correcto. So
It's the foundation for all great chocolate.
Where are you going to put it on the list?
That's a hard one. It's not top tier.
It's not top tier, unfortunately. It's great and it is foundation, but again, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm having that over everything else.
Now I'm not gonna go out. I would never normally just go and buy a normal bar of dairy milk. I'd never be my go-to.
I don't think
Never,
I ever
ever
have.
Even like this one, I think it was in like a multi-pack thing, like a selection box type thing. But they'll still always get eaten. Same in like Heroes.
Yeah.
They're always getting eaten. So would it be... It's in between love that and I'd have that again.
Yeah, I think so. And only because I don't buy it, I wouldn't put it in love that personally. Because it's great. It is great. It's standard good chocolate. But even then, if I'm to buy standard normal bar of chocolate, I go Galaxy. So for me, it'd be I'd have that again. But it's your pick. You're eating it right now.
I agree. I'm going to go and have that again. It's a bit harsh. If someone wants to fight me on it and say, love that, I'm not going to fight them. I'm not going to fight you back. Because I do love that. But I don't buy it. So I'd have it again.
Yeah.
You know, semantics.
I know
whatever.
I know where you're coming from, mate. And you're a lover, not a fighter, aren't you?
I am.
So what I'm going to do... These have melted. And they're very messy. Apparently. So I've kind of got 1.5 because I tried to snap it off and it just crumbled everywhere.
Of course.
So here's to the Galaxy Flutes.
I'm not hearing a crunch.
You're
not hearing anything. No. Is that microphone yours? It's too... No, yours is supposed to pick up on all the crunches.
It picks up on everything. I don't like it.
You don't look blown away, I must say.
I'm not. I'll tell you what the problem with this is. It's disguised as Galaxy's version of Crispy Rolls, and nothing will ever hit the Crispy Roll, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Because the Crispy Roll is one of the greatest chocolate bars to ever exist.
That is true. I can't believe they don't make them anymore.
I know.
Where are you putting that then? You look very disappointed. You got sad eyes.
You know what? I've got a second one and I will eat it. I'll have that again. It was fine. I was expecting top tier, which is why I've got sad eyes. When I saw them, I was so excited. I put 2. I hid them in the house because my mother is a bit of a fucker for, I'll eat this. I've got my own little tub of snacks for me and Littlin. They don't stay there long, let me tell you, mate.
Yeah.
So I hid them out the way, hence the fact they melted, because I've been hiding them in my back pocket for 2 weeks. And, yeah, just very, very average.
That's a shame.
Yeah, well, you know what. But again, it's not gross. It's quite a lovely chocolate bar. Just, I was expecting the world, and I just got bang average. Would
you buy them again?
Maybe. If there was nothing else, just... They were cheap as well. They were like 50p.
Yeah.
So just to stick a couple in the drawer, in the little snack thing. But yeah, that's about it. Right, we've nearly done a full hour on music and snacks, so I feel we should probably talk about a film.
Yeah.
We've both been to the cinema a lot recently. I say we just bang one out each. We've got
all right, go for it.
We've got a million podcasts to go, so we can talk about all the other ones we've seen maybe next week.
Yep.
But yeah, let's just pick a film that we've seen recently that we really enjoyed, and we can talk about it. I will let you go first.
Okay, thank you. So a recent film, I think it's just come out in the cinema. We missed it in the cinema, but we actually paid for it because we really wanted to see it, and we don't get to go to the cinema anymore. So we paid for it, and it was Beetlejuice. And I don't think I've spoke about Beetlejuice.
No.
So a little bit of context. I only watched Beetlejuice 1 all the way through for the first time early this year. I was convinced I'd seen it all the way through, and maybe I have, but I don't remember it, and I'm pretty good for remembering my films. Because I was obsessed with Tim Burton when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I was going to do, for those that know, I did a joint degree. So I did film studies at uni, and my dissertation, I did it on James Cameron films. So, but originally I chose Tim Burton to be the subject, but there was a lot of his films that I hadn't seen, and some of them one that I wasn't that fussed about, so I didn't want to really have to talk about them. Anyway, long story. We watched Beetlejuice 1 earlier this year and became obsessed with it. So it was sort of like our film that we just put on, like just as a comfort film. You know, we just had it on repeat and just absolutely fell in love with it. And can see why people loved it. Because it's a cult classic, I would say, Beetlejuice now.
It is a cult classic. And again, it's a comfort film. Literally yesterday, Little got dropped off at my house. She comes through the door, white as a sheet, not looking well, bless her. I said, come on, let's go and have a cuddle and put a film on in bed. Yeah, can we watch Beetlejuice, Daddy? Straight away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it is that comfort film of just, it's great. There's a lot to it. It picks you up when you need it, but it's just a lovely comfort film.
Exactly. And it's so weird and it's so wacky and it's so Tim Burton. It's like, 1989? Obviously, for those that don't know, it's about a family that die and they're haunting a house, but then a new family moves in and then they want rid of the family. So Beetlejuice is a what is it called? What is his title?
I can't remember.
It's like a bio poltergeist or something. So basically, like, he'll get rid of humans. So normally, like, it's like a good twist on it, because normally you get someone into a bio exorcist. That's what it's called. So normally you get someone to exorcise the ghosts or the demons, whereas this is a flip on it, and it's like the ghosts hire a bio expert to get rid of the humans. Anyway, it's like a horror comedy. And so then Beetlejuice came out earlier this year. So that's 35 years in between sequels. So it's the second film. So when I saw the trailer for it earlier this year in the cinema. I can't remember what I was seeing, and I was like, that is so weird. Like, I know it's a cult classic, but is it enough to be successful now? Do you know what I mean? Has too much time passed? Because yes, it's a cult classic, but it's not like it's a big franchise. Do you know what I mean?
But before we move on then, I'm going to answer that. I don't think it was too much time, personally. I think my worry was it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the original, so it's going to get panned for it. But it was brought out at the exact right time because, what's her name? Wednesday.
Jenna Ortega.
Because Jenna Ortega is a living thing now. And if you need anyone to be in a Beetlejuice film, it's Jenna Ortega. So it's the perfect time to bring it out because she is the hot shit right now. And she is perfect for that role.
Exactly. She is. And she's like the next Tim Burton girl, I'm going to say in exclamation marks. So obviously, like, your early days, it was like Winona Ryder, who was like Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. Then it moved on to sort of like, obviously Johnny Depp is constant, but in terms of the females, it was then like Helena Bonham Carter was this, and then like Christina Ricci, and now you've got Jenna Ortega, who's like the new one. Obviously, she's Wednesday, and she's just perfect for that Tim Burton world, the gothic-y, bit of an outsider, but still like, you know, beautiful and funny and dry and like literally like, you know, she fits that mold perfectly. I think the big thing for most people going into this film was, can Michael Keaton pull it off? That's the big one, isn't it? Beetlejuice is the title character. He is so eccentric. He's such an iconic character in the first one. Can he do that? He's very like, I don't know, like articulate with his movement and his jokes, and he's like, I just wondered if he could pull it off. Because he's like 71, 72, 73 now, so, you know, it's a big difference that between like your mid-30s and then your early 70s.
Correct. But do you ever believe there'll be a time where Michael Keaton can't pull it off? Michael Keaton will still be pulling it off in his 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And he did. He absolutely nailed it. So, like, you got some characters coming back. Winona Ryder's back in it. Catherine O'Hara's in it. Although she got a small role in the first one, I do think she's now hot shit after Schitt's Creek. Because she's iconic in Schitt's Creek as Moira. So, and she plays a character was already kind of a bit like Moira, but now feels just like Moira, even more so. And it was weird because we were watching it, and even though we only got into Beetlejuice properly this year, I watched this and still felt nostalgic for the old one.
Yeah.
Because like it's set in the same place, it's still at the same house, the same town, same characters, and I fucking loved it. It's so good. Have you seen it?
So I did the same thing. I bought it for Littlin. Unfortunately, we watched it at a time I wasn't very well, so we was late watching it, and I fell asleep, and I've just not got round to watch. So I watched, I'd say 70% of it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of in and out of drifted off because I just wasn't feeling great. So I didn't pay full attention to it, so it does need a rewatch. But as you're talking through it, I'll probably know a lot of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I just loved it. Obviously, like, it's a whole different story now. Like, it's much more centered around Jenna Ortega's character and Winona Ryder's character, who's got a big part in it, because Jenna Ortega plays Winona Ryder's daughter in it. So it's like that next generation down. And then Beetlejuice. So there's quite a few different subplots, because then there's like Beetlejuice's ex-wife turns up and she can like kill ghosts. So it's like the threat of her, which kind of doesn't really go anywhere, but I suppose it just adds another threat.
I think that was my biggest issue with it. Like, she was the threat. She didn't feel that threatening.
Yeah,
I was a bit like, it seemed a bit of a shoehorned in part
I
of the
agree.
story that
I think
do out.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel like she's shoehorned in. I feel like a lot of the plots don't go massively far, but I didn't enjoy this film for the plot. I enjoyed it for the ride, and I enjoyed it for the characters and the music and the eccentricity. Like, I love, like, a bit, it's like, they're in the afterlife, and it's like, all aboard the soul train, obviously taking the soul.
Great. Yeah.
But it's like all these undead, like, as if they're like soul dancers doing like this like 70s sort of 60s, 70s dance, like soul music. It's so cool. They're all getting on board the soul train, and you're like, this is so cool. The best character is Bob, obviously. The shrunken head Bob is just so good. Michael Keaton's great. I've seen a lot of people complain, say, because critically I think it did pretty well. Not like universal acclaim, but pretty good. But I've seen some of the criticisms I've seen from people like, oh, there's not enough Beetlejuice in it. But there's not that much Beetlejuice in the original one. He's very much the side character. It's all about the family, like Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. I can't remember what their names are. Off the top of my head, that's annoying me. And then the new family. So Beetlejuice is like sort of like the extension. I feel like that's the same. He probably gets as much screen time in this as the other one.
Yeah.
But I love some of the set pieces. The finale is great. That's so good. It's like this big epic with like this big song, this whole scene. It's so cool. I love that. That's one of the scenes I could put on time and time again to watch it on repeat. Loved it. Willem Dafoe is in it, who plays like this. He was an actor in like playing like, I don't know, like hard men cop films.
It's like a B movie cop thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You'd almost expect like bloody Jean-Claude Van Damme or something. who accidentally killed himself on set. And now he's like the leader of the goon squad, so he's trying to track down Beetlejuice and find out what's happening. And he's just quality in everything he's in, isn't he, as well? But like some really cool like cameos, like Danny DeVito in it and stuff. I loved it. It's one of them. Again, we've watched that 2 or 3 times now, and I'm so glad I bought it because I will watch that. That's already a future comfort film for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
just like the original one.
This makes me very sad to say, but Danny DeVito don't look any different when he's portrayed to be dead than he does in any other. And it really makes me sad because I'm a big Danny DeVito fan.
Yeah.
But like he plays a ghost in it, and he doesn't look much different to what he done. It's like, oh no, Danny DeVito.
But yeah, it was really good. Michael Keaton, absolutely classed as Beetlejuice. Everyone's great. It's nice to see Tim Burton because I love Tim Burton. He doesn't really make films anymore. I think he's sort of like semi-retired. But obviously came back that all the stars aligned, I think, for everyone to get back on board with Beetlejuice 35 years later is insane to make the second one.
Absolutely.
What I saw really cool trivia that was obviously Winona Ryder's gone massive again in modern times because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And I saw trivia that I don't know how true it is, but it said in her contract when she signed on to Stranger Things, she was like, I will do Stranger Things, but on the condition that if Beetlejuice 2 ever gets made, you have to let me have time off from making Stranger Things to go make Beetlejuice 2. She was like, that's how much I want to do this film.
Oh, that is amazing.
I know, how cool is that? Like, everyone loved apparently making the first one, and they clearly had a great time making the second one as well.
Yeah.
I hope they make a third because it did really well at the box office, critically well. Made a good chunk of money, so
Oh, absolutely.
boxes ticked all round, I think.
It was this year's Halloween, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, every year there's always something that's big that's that year that everyone dresses as, and this year it was Beetlejuice, which is great to see. Again, it's a 35-year-old film. It's a film I grew up with from being a kid, so it's great to see it out. My daughter was dressed as Beetlejuice for Halloween, and yeah, I love it, mate. I'm so happy with it.
Yeah, I love it. It's hard to tell if I've already talked about Beetlejuice because I watched it a while ago, but I know I talked about Beetlejuice once at Halloween.
We spoke about it.
It was my back of the week, wasn't it? I had a Beetlejuice lolly. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
amazing. Me. Would you like to, if we've got time, do you want to do a Tim Burton episode next week?
I'd love to do a Tim Burton episode.
Should we do a Tim Burton episode next week?
Yeah, I fucking love Tim Burton. I've been a right Tim Burton binge as well.
I know you've been on a binge, and I want to go on a binge, so I'm just thinking it'll give me a reason to. I've got a week to rewatch a load of his films.
Yeah, sounds good.
Brill. Cool. Got a couple more minutes then, and I just want to, it's not going to be a big one, I just want to give a recommendation. It is something that we've already put out on socials, but I've seen a lot of new films recently, and this is the one. The one that I loved, the one that everybody that has watched it has messaged me saying film recommendation for you, and it has also got a beautiful 8.3 on IMDb already.
Ooh, that's very good.
For a kids film, this is The Wild Robot that came out last month, maybe 2 months ago. Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal, Kit Connor, Bill Nighy, Matt Berry, Ving Rhames, Mark Hamill, Catherine O'Hara. Like, it's just ridiculous the amount of people in this film.
Yeah.
And it is an animated film about an AI robot that is kind of shipwrecked and is just lost in the wilderness. It comes to life, you know, it's a AI robot that's supposed to support families and do stuff around the house for them, and that's the whole point of this company. But it starts learning, the AI starts learning its inhabitants, which is the wilderness. And a little bird sort of is hatched and immediately takes to the robot thinking it's mum, because the robot accidentally kills its mum, and then it's kind of the relationship between the little bird and is it a goose?
I don't know.
I can't really remember what it is now. It's a bird. It flies. It's got wings. It migrates. I know that much.
Right.
And yeah, it's basically just the story of this little robot, a kids animated film, just becoming the mother. And obviously it's in the wilderness, so the other creature that becomes friends is a fox played by Pedro Pascal, obviously more of a predator in the wilderness. So the robot learns about like predatory behavior and the, who kills who and who eats who. And then there's a lot to do with that a bit later on in the film where winter comes and she's trying to protect everyone in the wilderness by putting them all under one roof. But you do that and they're all going to try and kill each other. It's just such a beautiful film that, again, every emotion going. I laughed, I cried. It's just such a gorgeous film. And my little one went to cinema to see it first before me. And she was like, oh, it's really good. And she will say that about some shit sometimes. But I was like, you know what? We'll give it a go. Like, I've heard pretty good stuff. It was more the cast. Because I'm a huge Lupita Nyong'o fan as well. So I was like, you know what, we'll give it a go. And I think she was just watching like, yeah, this is really good. I was like, no, this is better than really good, child. Like, you have no idea. And I just hope that it's not something I've heard a lot about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the big Disney film or, Moana 2
Who did make it?
It was, let me have a look. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, I don't think it's a big company. So it was Chris Sanders, that directed it, who did How to Train Your Dragon and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So who would have been the production company behind it?
Not DreamWorks.
No, I can't see. Flicking through. No, I can't see, but
no.
Yeah, it was outstanding. I cannot push this film enough. It's just fun, and like I say, I really hope it gets the surge. I hope it gets picked up by a streaming company quite quickly, because I think this is one of those films that could quite easily sort of be passed by and not picked up by people, and I want this in everyone's faces now. I think once people see it, the word will get out there of how amazing it is. But I just think I don't know how it did at the cinema, but I don't know. Like I say, I only heard of it because my child told me about it, and I'm normally quite switched on about that sort of thing. So I just really hope that it does get that surge that it deserves, because 8.3 off the bat
is insane.
Incredible.
It's DreamWorks.
Oh, was it DreamWorks? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is so good. Such a beautiful story. And again, Pedro Pascal, if I didn't know, because I read it was him, I'd never have guessed.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just a massive recommendation for me. The Wild Robot, I don't know if it's still out of cinemas. It very well could be. It could still be having small...
I think it is. I think it still is, yeah.
Even if it's just 1 or 2 a day. If you've got kids, they're going to love it. If you haven't got kids, you're going to love it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I really want to see it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. If you get a chance to go to cinemas to see it, do. But I reckon it'll get picked up quite quickly afterwards. Or, when it comes on Sky, get it bought, because it's... Chef's kiss, mate.
Chef's kiss.
Right, so that's all the time we have for this week. Trying to keep it a bit lower, because last couple of weeks we've sort of been hitting that hour and a half mark. Again, it's too easy to chat shit in it.
I know.
So trying to keep it an hour again. So thank you very much for listening. Next week we will come back with some Tim Burton stuff. Who knows? A couple of weeks after we might look at Michael Keaton, mate, because I know you've also been on a Keaton binge.
I've been on a Tim Burton binge turned into a Michael Keaton binge.
And I'll be honest, I'd rather do Michael Keaton over Tim Burton, but I just think Tim Burton first, then Michael Keaton in a few weeks.
And they naturally allow progression. I think that's sort of what we did.
Absolutely. So is there anything else you'd like to add or ask the listeners or give the listeners before we call it today?
No, not really. I've got to go eat Portuguese tart.
I'm so jealous, mate.
Yeah.
You got any more? Do you want to bring me one into work tomorrow?
Absolutely not.
You're a piece of shit, and I've never liked you. Oh, do you want to talk about Skibbity Toilet before we finish?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Skibbity Toilets.
No, never. We'll save that for next week, mate, because we're going to need a whole episode on that, aren't we?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
Right, thank you very much for listening. Again, please go onto our socials and like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. Links down below in everything that you're listening or watching on. Down below, not up, not down, just below. Peace!